up.
Well, did you listen to the last one?
No, I didn't.
No.
We're not
You don't
very
listen
good
to
at
them.
it.
Okay.
would never
I knew
listen to
it.
this on my own.
I knew it. I knew
listened
it.
to it while we were doing it. I was listening to it when we were
Right, we got to
recording.
get the views. That's what we got to get.
Yeah,
All right.
I could add to that.
Let's open up a nice cold brewski for this one. Oh.
Cheers. Here's to episode 4 now.
Wow. Who would have thought we made it? They kept us on.
Made it so far.
They kept us on. The network kept us on.
It seems like it was like just last month that we started this.
I know.
And it's already been 4 episodes.
And you know what? It's so great to be here with you.
I'm feeling just.
To be honest, I'm not going to be
uncomfortable.
honest. I'm going to be honest. This is like the most I've ever seen you in a month. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's funny when you grow up, you end up not seeing people.
It's true. It's true.
You grow out, but
Yeah,
I am so happy it's you. And we got
I'm happy.
and we
you're
got
not
the-
sick of me.
you got the video back here too. Riley decided to contribute his computer.
I donated. I figured you'd been pretty much setting this whole setup. This is actually in like a room of your house.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's all
the
right.
panels, the microphones, the computer, the camera, the helmet, the lightsaber, the beaters.
Every week.
The cords, the all the looks.
But
It's all you, man.
but I think
I
I mean
the bunk bed that we're sitting under.
they figured it out right away on the first episode. They figured that out.
They knew it was a bunk bed.
They knew that was one of the
All right, well,
comments. Shout out to Sean.
Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, they know it. But now you got to figure out where we live, by the background, and hopefully.
Oof. God
that-
help us if they find out where we live.
Oh gosh.
Man.
Well, you did tell them that it is in my house, so
Right where you live.
yeah, where I live, not where you live.
Not where I live. Correct.
So they've narrowed it halfway down.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's not
thank
in
you.
both of our
Thank
houses.
you.
It's only in one of our houses.
Okay. Well, we forgot. We didn't get to talk about the fantasy football, which
Yeah, we were a little long-winded
we
last
went.
time. We,
It was a pretty long video, but it was good. No, let me say that it was good.
yeah, that's high-quality material.
Because I think it was because there was no 2-minute break. I mean, we were very adamant about giving people 2 minutes of a break from us,
Yep.
and now here we are. And last week we decided no more breaks, no more intermission. Not anymore.
It's all business. It's all business. Just like in life.
Right.
You don't get paid for breaks.
Not at all. So I wanted to talk about fantasy football a little bit. We talked a little bit about in week 2 or episode 2 about fantasy football. But this week I wanted to go about the do's and don'ts of fantasy football.
Okay.
And I mean, we are on a fantasy football team
Absolutely.
and love it. It's been such a great.
Oh man. So our fantasy football league is like a classic. So everyone's probably familiar with the show The League.
Mm-hmm.
We're not quite to that level. I'm not sure
I
if there's
think
many of those that like that's kind of like
I would say the only thing we are missing is the first, like every time in the first episode, like for the first pick, they have like some extravagant weight of who gets the first pick.
sure. That's about all we're missing.
And that's all we're missing. That's all we're missing out of the whole thing.
And obviously now we're all virtual this year, and like we didn't have everyone together.
Right.
And certainly throughout the season, we're not like together discussing and.
Right.
But there's a lot of good back and forth. We do emails for those
That's
who don't know. Our rule is that the lowest team. of the
and
previous
there's
week-
somebody out there who has not been doing that. And you as the commissioner, I am actually going to make a complaint.
You're gonna complain to me.
Because
About
you're the
someone else.
commissioner. Yeah, you're the commissioner.
Okay. What am I supposed to do?
Talk to the person. It's not
I did, and they still didn't do it.
Oh, well, that's all you got to tell me. I was just making my first formal complaint.
I didn't realize this was complaint hour.
All right, okay. So the do's and don'ts of fantasy football.
Yeah.
You want to go with, or do you want me to go?
Well, I'll tell you right away. Don't start 0-4. It's not a good idea.
That guy.
I'm the only one in the league that has yet to find a win. I have 2 leagues. Both of them I'm 0-4.
Really?
I have awful luck with injuries.
But the thing is, you got lucky enough because you joined the Vikings app, and you won it a week for the pass or play.
I won. So the Vikings have their own kind of on the Vikings app, as Regan mentioned. They have their own fantasy style. It's pretty different, but you set a weekly lineup, and you just compete against everyone else who has the app, anyone else who's competing, and yeah, I had kind of been doing it. I think they started it last season, so 2019, like halfway through the year, and I kind of started doing it. It was kind of fun, and then week 2, I think. I won. I was first overall, and they gave me $150.
I remember.
So I don't care how I do in fantasy football anymore.
Right? You did? Did you buy in this other league? Did you have to buy in?
Technically, I think, but like it was so weird. Like normally we pay up front, but like with COVID, like no one ever asked me for money, so I don't know if we're doing a paid. I'm assuming we are, but I haven't paid yet. I haven't been asked to pay yet. But the thing about the Vikings app, that was an awesome deal.
Yeah.
But it was I've got a conspiracy theory that the Vikings want to do just enough to keep me as a fan. And when they totally blew the first 3 weeks, I was just done. I was like, I might be looking for a different team here pretty soon. And I'm a diehard Vikings fan.
What the heck, Riley?
But I was just so sick of
how are we going to do this podcast then?
We'd start talking about maybe some chess, maybe some Magnus Carlsen. We could talk about his latest
moves
and some sweet traps and things that he does on the chessboard. Guy is a genius.
Oh gosh!
But we're not going to talk about that. We are just going to talk about the Vikings because the Vikings essentially paid me off.
They basically did, and
they were like, let's make Riley win this week, and
that's how they did it.
We'll keep him as fans.
Okay,
God dang it! Well, because I get $150 that I can only spend at the Vikings store. And I was like,
I guess I have to be a Viking fan. Have you spent it yet or no?
What?
Have you spent the $150 yet?
I spent it. And then I get a notification saying it's on its way, and I was like, sweet.
Right.
Excited to get me some new Vikings gear. I actually got a really cool sweatshirt and got some stuff for the kiddo and Jamie as well, my wife. And I was excited. And then it said it shipped, and I came home from work. I got nothing. Nothing. I'm like, well, what is going on? It said it delivered. No, it didn't just say it shipped. It said it.
Right. I was gonna ask. I was like, well,
it was delivered to this address, my address.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that sucks. And I went to check on the FedEx shipping code that they gave.
Yeah.
So even though Vikings said that they shipped it to my address, the FedEx shipping code said that they sent it to somewhere in a town called Boonton, New Jersey. So that's where my Viking stuff ended up.
Did you call FedEx at least to figure out?
Well, I called. I got in touch with the Vikings. It was really funny because the gal answers the phone. She's like, how can I help you? And I was like, oh yeah, I had an order placed, and it said it was delivered. And like before I could even finish the sentence, she gave a big sigh, and she's like, and it was delivered to another state, kind of a thing. And
right.
I was like, yeah. She says, yeah, we had a big mix up with our system or our order through FedEx and stuff. So we had a bunch of, I don't know if like they got crossed over with each other and
Right.
So, but yeah. So my package got delivered to Boonton, New Jersey. I'm still waiting on a resolution.
You're still waiting?
Again, Vikings, I get drawn back in.
Gosh.
It's like I'm pulling away. Just like a little string is all that's left. And then Vikings give me $150. I'm like, oh, I gotta come
and then
back.
And
they're like, no, we're not gonna give you this stuff. We're gonna pull it away.
That is great.
So I don't have it yet, but I am still a Vikings fan.
Of course.
But yeah, so fantasy football advice. don't start 0-4. Do play the Vikings app because hey, everyone, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
And we are not endorsed by the Vikings yet. Of course, Riley could make a phone call to his best friend Adam Thielen.
He's waiting for me constantly. He texts me, are you going to call Riley? Every night I get a text from him.
And he's like, oh, gosh, not this guy again. Oh, gosh. Adam. Ugh. Here's
right,
okay.
so what's your advice?
This is my advice that I've always picked up. Somebody gave me this advice, and I loved the advice. And this has to do, there's so much advice that you can take. But this is advice that if you don't have like a top defense and you're just looking for defenses, just go off the waiver wire.
Oh, for sure.
And just every week pick up a new defense.
Oh, for sure.
Depending on who their matchup is and everything like that. That's something that, like defenses, if you don't have one of the top defenses, depending on how well the defense, like right now, I think the Colts.
New England of last year.
Right.
Or Colts of this year.
Colts right now are doing really good. Xavier Rhodes. And depending on all this stuff, but take up the matchup. Take the matchup and gain the points for it there. You're not gonna get. I mean, you might get lucky enough to get 20-some points from your defense.
Oh, for sure.
But you're not expecting that. You just want points. You don't want to get negative points, which is where you're most likely going to get negative points.
So here's the thing: is defenses are all about capitalizing on opponents' mistakes, right? So you're far more what?
You got to move your mic.
Oh, sorry. So defenses are all about capitalizing on other people's mistakes.
Right.
So you have to be playing a team that makes mistakes. Right.
Right.
So it's so much more matchup based than any other position.
Oh yeah.
Right. So what you've got to do, and actually I'll give you some insight to what I would do, and I haven't been doing it this year because I'm just not motivated at all because I'm 0-4 in both my leagues. I would always have two defenses. I would look a week ahead every week and draft the defense that's going to be playing. And you can look pretty easily on your app as who's the 30th ranked offense or who's the opponents that are giving up the most points to defenses and say, okay, well, who are they playing in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's the defense I want to pick up now because otherwise, because I mean, if you look at who the top expected points projected points are every week, it's just about always teams that are playing the really crappy teams.
Yeah,
those are also the first that are going to go on the waiver wire. So if you want priority, you can look ahead and get ahead on and basically be ahead of the curve on that.
I would agree, but I think that you're giving up a bench spot. You're giving up a potential player that could be if you have injuries. Like I've had injuries this whole. I drafted Saquon Barkley in one league with Austin Eckler now. And now my two top running backs that I had are now gone. Yeah. And I have no idea what to do with my running backs. So if I was to do that, I'm potentially giving up another spot that could always be a backup to my running back. So I don't think I am that desperate enough to be looking 2 weeks ahead or the week ahead of a matchup to draft him, or
you have to have
2 weeks
a pretty
basically.
Solid lineup where you're not streaming any other positions,
right?
Where you can afford.
You have to. I would agree. Yes, you would have to have a pretty solid.
If you've got an injured team, you've got to
free up that bench
on the waiver wire. You got to keep some people.
Right.
Hopefully develop into more. So no, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, that's my do and my don'ts of fantasy football.
I like it.
And that's just something it's been on my heart, and I've been wanting.
Thank you for sharing. That was very in depth, and it felt I could feel the emotion behind that.
It came out. It just came out.
I started crying halfway through it. I don't know if you saw.
No.
It was.
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna replay it probably on the.
Yeah. No, I mean, you probably can't see it from here.
It was the light. You can't see through the light
right,
in the shadow. Yeah.
It my tears evaporated as soon as.
Well, all right. So now we're out. We're done with the old fantasy football and getting on to the good stuff.
let's get on to talking about the Vikings Texans from Sunday. You watched the game?
I did. I did watch it.
Initial thoughts?
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I was fairly impressed. I mean, it made me realize it's either the Vikings found kind of a key to success, or the Texans are really bad. So it's one of the two.
It's definitely one of the two, and I think it's the latter. And it surprised me. I had not watched up till Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Had not watched the Texans play this season. They look awful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Especially the start of that
game.
Of
the game.
Not just like the play calling, not just the lack of they didn't have the deep threat because Will Fuller was there, Brandon Cooks was there.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks. I don't even think
Jordan
about
Akins was there. What's that?
I don't think Brandon Cooks even caught a catch.
He didn't. But he was there.
Right. I mean, he was there, and he did try throwing it to him.
Yep. He
and
had
Eric Kendricks made a beautiful play against him. Beautiful.
But with all of that, Deshaun Watson missing throws.
Yeah, he was
didn't
missing.
Look as elusive. Like I don't know how if he even ran.
He ran it like once or twice.
And
that's
where he could have taken.
That's his bread and butter right there.
Yeah, that's where he could have taken advantage of our defense because if he starts running, he's
now
going to
we
make
got
our
to play
corners
up.
look stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He's everyone's going to be looking behind their backs thinking that he.
He's coming. Yeah, I would agree.
I found myself at the end of that game. So obviously, still a Vikings fan, but I'm lost on this season, and I don't care whether or not we win another game.
Right.
And I didn't care at the end. It was interesting because this is the first time I've actually been watching a game and potentially been checked out for the season. And actually not cared and somewhat rooting for the other team. I was happy with what I saw from the Vikings, but I was like, I kind of want the Texans to win this one.
I guess. Well, I didn't really care too much either. I wouldn't care for whatever. I think so. There's so much to unfold here, and I think the one thing I do want to unfold is two things. Two things I want to unfold actually, not one thing. One. We finally got Justin Jefferson involved in this game plan, and I think that's going to make a huge impact in our offensive gameplay because now, I think we saw at the beginning of the first 2 games how impactful Stephon Diggs was to our offense because not only our defenders and corners and safeties and whatever are trying to defend a really good wideout, but they also got another, really, I think BC Johnson and Chad Beebe weren't gonna step up to that plate, and Justin Jefferson has definitely shown himself up here. The second thing is that our second half effort is horrible. I thought we were gonna lose it.
Yeah,
I really did.
And I was hoping that it would be a catch. At the end that Will Fuller.
As soon as I saw that ball move, I knew it was like, oh, that's done.
Yeah, I kind of figured they'd call it dead. I was with the rule changes over the past few years. I was like, maybe they'll call that a catch because he had possession, got both feet down. Is that the end of story there?
Yeah.
I was wondering if I can't remember if they made that decision where as soon as you got both feet in, you've got possession.
Yeah.
It's touchdown. Plays over regardless of what happens.
Yeah, I was curious of what they were going to say too because the rules of the catch has changed so much over the years, and right now, I don't think really anyone knows what it is. It's just like you know. I think it's just like you just know if it's a catch or not, and then it's up to the refs to actually make it. But I'm glad that they're actually taking it to New York, in kind of circumstantial areas,
Yeah, in the right times when
gotta make sure
when it's appropriate.
Computers don't go out.
That certainly helps to get professional opinion. All right, so let's do first and last.
All right.
Your favorite player and your least favorite player. You can start with either, and then I'll just do the counter to that.
Okay, I can. Oh, you're gonna do the counter. Okay.
So whatever. If you do first, I'll do my first, and then.
All right. I need to kind of think of who.
Want me to start?
Yeah, you go ahead since
All right,
you already
I'm gonna start.
kind of know.
I'm gonna start. You want to, or you just need to know who's on the Vikings roster?
Yeah,
you
I might.
Google
I
that
can.
while I'm going.
It's kind of hard because last time I had my laptop and I
There's
could.
Kirk Cousins.
Cousins. Okay.
My favorite player, so with this segment, I hate going with like the obvious, like, oh, Dalvin Cook was so good, his runs and this, or Justin Jefferson. Like, we've already kind of talked them up. I think most people, and you certainly can, do it your own spin on that.
Yeah.
I always like to like point out kind of the unsung heroes.
Right, and that's what I'm about
or
too.
just give.
I think
give
everyone
I
knows
appreciated about someone that I don't think anyone else appreciated.
the dudes. Yeah, the first and last I think isn't necessarily on the who did the best.
Right.
I think it's somebody no one really noticed.
Yep. So my player, and he didn't get noticed because he wasn't in for 3/4 of the game.
Of course.
Harrison Smith.
Oh gosh.
Number one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So obviously, Harrison Smith gets kicked out of the game for one play where he lowered his helmet to initiate contact.
Right.
Yes, that should have been a penalty. Don't know if it was like egregious and like intentional, but whatever. NFL's cracking down on that kind of stuff. Fine. Okay, number one. How much did we miss him when he left? Holy smokes.
Just think if we would have had him.
Huge issue with depth at safety. So we lose Anthony Harris or Harrison Smith. Man, do we look bad. We already looked pretty bad in the secondary, but those two were pretty much the only bright spots there. So without Harrison Smith, yeah, we look bad. So it just goes to show you how much of an impact he has and how important he is. Number two, he kept his cool. He wasn't smooth.
He wasn't
dude.
pissed or anything like that.
I'm looking at him and he just kind of like shrugs his shoulder. I'm like, I would be so livid. And as a guy in the secondary, generally you're fired up and you got to be ticked off. And he's like, all right, it is what it is. And I'm like, my level of respect to him. Yeah, I mean, it's like here's Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Do you want me to?
Donald Trump. And then Mom. And then bam, there's Harrison Smith. He just climbed that ladder.
Wow.
Yep.
Respect. Way to go. I mean, I would agree. It was kind of cool to see Harrison just walk off. Yep. Not really pissed or anything, not complaining. I mean, he just, and then the other thing is that, if you watch the game, you see Deshaun Watson, whatever, Deshaun Watson talking to him and just like, hey, kind of teammates kind of thing. And that's where I think he just has respect for him. And then he also has respect for the refs. And he wasn't too, I think he knows I got next week, whatever. Thinking about the next thing, and I think that's really what moves him. He's not thinking about the here and now. He can't change that, and he's going to give it up to Mike Zimmer, which, if you watch it, Mike Zimmer reams in him. He was reaming into those refs, and that's your tip. That's what we want. Yep. That's what you want.
That cranky old guy came out and he said, hey, get off my lawn, you refs! That's my player!
Out there with maybe a pitchfork or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
All right. So do you have a favorite?
All right. My favorite player, I kind of already said I enjoyed watching. I mean, it was just one play. Didn't really watch them the rest, but I think one play that really stood out to me that I can remember was Eric Kendricks. Bat down of the ball straight at, Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks had to kind of come back for that. But it was a good throw. I think any receiver would have caught it, especially Brandon Cooks. But the want and the need to get after it, he's really changed it up. I mean, because he was one of my least favorite, or my last couple
last
episodes.
Week he was your least favorite guy.
I don't know if it was last week. I think it was a couple weeks. I don't know, but he's really changed it up, and I think he's trying to show up, and I think he's trying to take ownership.
He has almost twice as many tackles as anyone else on the team. He's got like 30 tackles so far this season.
This is definitely a Pro Bowler.
Closest has I think 18. The closest one to him, which is pretty stellar.
Right.
That's
so,
some facts. Just some facts.
Straight
that I just
facts.
spew every once in a while. I don't even know where
straight
they
of
came
them. Straight facts
They
coming
just kinda
from
come to me.
dads.
So, all right. Least favorite player. Let's get through this real quick.
All right.
Least favorite player is a guy who really didn't show up at all, and that's Irv Smith, who's been totally invisible this season. Amazes me. Like last season, we were seeing sparks. He had a couple touchdowns. And I was like, yeah, this kid's gonna be good. He's gonna start picking up, some of Kyle Rudolph's work, and potentially, like I was thinking, he's gonna be like a, maybe like a Darren Waller or not a Kittle, but
he'll be good.
Get to that upper echelon of tight ends
Has
where
not shown
he's
that.
athletic. He's not just he's a decent blocker, but he was supposed to be this sweet route runner, really physical. Kind of almost like a receiver type.
Right.
No, he's.
I
I don't know if he's not getting open. I don't know if he.
Do you think it might be
farted
just
on
because
Cousins' pillow or something, where Cousins doesn't want to give him the ball, but he's not getting the ball. And
do you think it might be because Kyle Rudolph is in there and he's a veteran and kind of knows his thing? And what do you think?
I don't think it has anything to do with Kyle. I think it has everything to do with Irv. I don't think. No, I don't. I don't think Kyle's part of that equation. I think it's Irv Smith is either he hasn't stepped up. I think last year he got so much attention. Maybe he got a little cocky. Maybe he thought I don't need to be. I don't need to
training
prep
as much
so
or
much.
whatever.
I don't need.
Yeah.
He's a young kid. I think he's still learning his work ethic. So maybe you got to give him a couple more years to kind of figure this out. That hey, if I want to stay in this league for a decent amount of time, I
don't know if I can't justify that though. I mean, if you're going in, if that's really what is happening, I'm not going to pay him that much just to figure it out.
I mean, he's a rookie. We're not paying him.
He's not a rookie anymore. I mean, he's what, 2 or 3 years in this?
Well, he's on his rookie deal.
Right, but
so you're
I
not
mean, next
paying
year,
him $5 million.
Well,
a year,
just think what
like you
was
are with Kyle Rudolph.
But my thing is that he can't necessarily. He should have already learned his work ethic in college. He should have already learned this.
He's the youngest player in the league last year.
I don't care how young he is. He was in college. You should learn these kind of things, especially in college, to work.
No.
To work
Everyone
hard
has
and
to
everything
mature
you do.
when they get to the NFL.
Everyone,
even Joe Burrow, even the high echelon like leaders, Baker Mayfield. You've got to mature when you get to the NFL. You're not going to.
No, I don't think you're. Yeah, you're definitely not. But you're going to have work ethic already.
I hate you. Why are you disagreeing?
No, I think his work ethic isn't that. Your work ethic is shown through college, and that's how you become good.
Work ethic is different than maturity. I get that. No, it's a fair point, and agreed. If you're going to be a good player, you should come ready to go.
You should already have that work ethic already installed. I mean, unless you were, I haven't never met there's somebody who was just this God-given gift to mankind to play football. Everyone has always worked to get to where they were, and have always. I mean, it's just. I mean, there's some people.
Unless you're Cam Newton, I feel like Cam Newton.
No.
Is
heck no. I've seen Cam Newton his workouts, and he's actually
His workouts are different than work ethic.
That shows your work ethic.
No, he has fashion ethic.
Right.
Where he probably spends 30 hours a week deciding what he wants to wear, and then the other 10 hours of his work week are, doing those workouts. Which he's a freak athlete. I mean, he is an alpha.
He's just a big guy. That's really what it is. And then he's able to run.
and can run super well. Anyway, all right, we're off track. Do you have a least favorite player?
All right, my least favorite player out of the game. I'm just thinking. I want to go with the two receivers, Chad Beebe and B.C. Johnson.
Yeah.
Those guys, I've heard so much. I mean, Chad Beebe especially. I've heard so much about he's going to be this really good slot receiver, kind of like Julian Edelman kind of thing, whatever. And he just hasn't been showing that. He hasn't been showing that at all this season. And last season, I was so disappointed that he got injured and he was going to be out the whole season because I was like, oh, man.
He started to look pretty good last
He
year.
did. And I think maybe that injury has made an impact on him. But I wouldn't say that because, I mean, I've been injured myself. And, I mean, I guess so. Like, I'm so much more not – like, I'm more – I wouldn't make cuts because I tore my ACL, my PCL on both knees, and I wouldn't make certain cuts. So I could see it. But as an athlete and what you're training to do is to prepare your body for the worst. Prepare your body for the worst and then mentally and be ready, I guess. Yeah. Get your body ready. And so I think Chad Beebe, he kind of has an excuse. B.C. Johnson, on the other hand, has really no excuse at all. And I remember our brother Sean telling us, because he went to their training camp when B.C. Johnson was a rookie, I believe, and he was just talking up in arms about this guy and how well of a player he was and how good he was doing. But I'm not impressed yet. I'm hoping somehow we can figure something out. Maybe with this new Jefferson, Justin Jefferson. If with that, maybe that'll release not as much tension on those guys, because maybe that's what it is. That there's a lot of pressure on them to be like, oh, I'm the number 2 guy now. Yep. But now it's at the number 3, and so they're like, okay, not as much pressure. Yep. So I guess maybe I'm optimistic, but we'll find out. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's real quick. Let's do a quick. What's your take on Seahawks coming up here?
Oh gosh.
We're going over there, I should say. What are your thoughts? Give me 3 words for how you're feeling right now.
Overwhelmed. That wasn't a word. That's just me thinking. Overwhelmed, losing, and Russell Wilson. Oh, Wilson.
That's 4 words. Man, you are good at it.
I am not good at
words.
this. I am an accountant, and that's. I just really, Russell Wilson. I just think he's one, but he's one man. So those are my 3 things.
Nice.
What about you?
Poop my pants.
Yeah?
I think we're going to or poop their pants. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think. I think. Well, okay. So here's the thing. I haven't realized. I didn't realize. I mean, obviously, Seahawks look awesome in like highlights, and what Russell Wilson's
can
doing
make some throws.
is insane. He just tied the record for the most touchdown passes through the first 4 games.
Attaboy.
I think he's going to break the record for the most touchdown passes through 5 games next week. I think he's going to put up 4 or 5 on us.
Well, he's got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf.
Lockett, Metcalf,
right?
David Moore.
Right.
We're not going to be able to catch up with those
especially
guys.
with our secondary,
No, yeah, exactly. I think Chris Carson's playing still pretty good.
Yeah. He did have a hamstring or whatever.
Week he came back and played
pretty well.
I think they destroy us. I think we'll get some points on them. If you're
it's gonna be
go back to fantasy. If you got a Vikings receiver or Kirk Cousins, start him.
That's another thing about my. I think you pick up if you got Justin Jefferson on that waiver wire, pick him up because he's had 2, and now he
leads the Vikings in
receiving
yards.
Yep,
receiving yards.
I saw that, and that's pretty cool. I mean, over 2 games that he played too.
Yeah, I mean he's really only showed up in the last 2 games.
Right,
and he's got close to 400 yards now.
Which is ridiculous, but that's, I mean, if you got him, you now know that we got that duo threat now that can actually, because he'll make those 50-50 catches, maybe even 25-75 catches.
Oh. Wow.
Yep.
That's a little ambitious there.
Yeah, I think he's. I have a lot of faith in this kid, and I'm impressed by him a lot.
Yeah, I think we'll get us some points. And
I think so too.
I think again, I'm not worried about us losing next week. I think it's expected. I think we can show a little bit what we've got brewing, what we've got cooking here, and then we're content with
Now, what if I was thinking about this actually? I want to ask you this question. What if I'm going to put you in some hypothetical? This is off script.
I have no idea.
He doesn't know what I'm about to ask. This is crazy.
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous.
What if from now on the Vikings win every game for the season? What would you still have faith in the Vikings to actually win, possibly take it all the way of the SB, or what are you thinking?
What if Roger Goodell just handed us Super Bowl rings and said, "Hey, you guys won last year."
What if COVID ends the whole season, and then that's what he does? Roger Goodell hands out.
What if everyone trades
super
their
rings
players
to everyone,
the Vikings, and we have all the players?
Roger Goodell.
That is unbelievable.
I'm just saying this is. I don't know. You never. Maybe they found their rhythm, and now they have this key to success that nobody can stop, and they just
on
bring
offense.
It.
We might be able to pull that together. We just don't have the pieces on defense. Hunter's probably not going to play this whole season.
Yeah. Maybe.
We don't have a defensive line that can get to the quarterback. We've got a leaky secondary.
Yeah.
This might be the worst start to a season. I mean, we even gave up how many points to the Texans and almost.
When was lost? There was 30. It was 31-30. And so we gave up.
Well, no, but they didn't get that last touchdown.
Technically, yeah, but we almost gave up 37 points then, or 36 at least.
No, their touchdown at the end was to tie it. I don't know. Either way, we've given up multiple touchdowns. They would have needed to get the touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie it to bring it to overtime. That was what they were trying to do at the last time.
I don't know about that.
But either way, we've given up more yards and touchdowns and interceptions.
I was.
It's just one of the worst defensive starts to a season,
I would say.
I don't see us turning it around.
I mean, look at the guys we've played already.
Good question.
I mean, we lost to the Colts, and the Colts are 4-0 right now, and they're one of the top teams. Seattle is going to be playing. I mean, they're ranked number 2 in the NFL.
Other than the
ESPN.
Texans, the other 3 opponents Vikings place, there are 3 losses. Their combined record is 10-1.
Exactly. So my thing is that maybe we're not as bad as we think they are. Is that a possibility that maybe we can not necessarily win every game. I think I should have said had a winning record, and we could get ourselves into the playoffs. Would there be any more hope? Would your hopes increase? Maybe decrease? What are you thinking?
I don't want us to even attempt that at this point. No, I really just don't think we have the piece. We're not. You really think we're going to be able to go into, Green Bay is going to be ahead of us. So,
yeah.
So we would have to go into Green Bay and beat them. That's just not going to happen right now with how they're flying. Seattle, we're not going to beat. It's just so far out there.
With our schedule, but.
I just think the wins that we get are going to be moral victories. But
I'm going to be, I think, from now on, just to make things a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
I realize you have your
pessimistic.
Yeah, I'm going to be optimistic about this season.
That's a mistake.
I'm going to be optimistic.
The first lesson I learned in life is optimism is a mistake. We're good?
Yeah.
All right. So one last thing. Do we have time for one more thing?
Yeah, I'd say so. As long as we keep it
All right.
pretty. No, yeah.
let's do this next week. Let's
You want to do it next week? All right.
So next week, we'll be better prepared for it. Next week, what I want to do is a segment called. This will be a little cliffhanger. I'm not going to tell people what the segment is.
Ooh.
But
they're gonna have to make a guess.
I will. I'll introduce the name for it. It's called Football for Thought. And you just have to. I'm not going to tell you.
Well, how about they leave a little comment below what they think?
Yeah. Why don't you tell us?
Gosh, this is what I've always wanted to
excited.
do on the old YouTube.
I just.
Leave a comment below what you think down here.
Yeah.
Down there.
Comment on our.
On our show. Welcome to our show. And hey, if you even like our show enough, maybe you want to give us a follow. I don't know.
Yep.
Or what if
support us on Carrying Bridge?
oh gosh.
Make us an account and send us money. I'd be okay with that.
Support us on
That's
Make a
what
Wish
people do now, right?
Make a Wish Foundation.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always got something with Make a Wish Foundation. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That is something that helps us out
It
tremendously.
really does.
Especially with I was watching. We could talk about this later about the Googles or the YouTubes and what makes you more popular. So, liking, commenting, but also watching the full video is way more important than liking, commenting, and subscribing.
Yeah. So if you get to this portion of the video,
you made it. Hey,
rock.
if you made it by this, you gotta like it now. So, all right. It was good. It was good. Seeing
This
you.
was outstanding. Good work.
We
Ito.
did it. Hey.
Good job. That was great.
All right. I'll see you guys next week.
Later, everyone.